The gravity hill of Ladakh, high in the Himalayas at an altitude of 14,000 feet, lies a stretch of road that has baffled scientists and terrified local residents for centuries. The magnetic hill of Ladakh, located on the Leh-Kargil highway in India, is a place where gravity appears to work in reverse, pulling objects upward instead of down. The phenomenon was first documented by the Indian Army in 1995, when military vehicles began experiencing impossible behavior along this particular section of road. Cars parked on the hill would begin moving upward on their own, reaching speeds of up to 20 kilometers per hour without any engine power. Even more disturbing, aircraft flying over the area at altitudes below 11,000 feet would experience sudden upward thrust that forced pilots to increase engine power to maintain level flight. Dr. Rajesh Kumar from the Indian Institute of Technology conducted extensive gravitational surveys of the area and found readings that violated Newton's law of universal gravitation. His precision instruments consistently showed gravitational acceleration, pointing upward rather than toward the Earth's center, with field strength varying unpredictably across the affected zone. The hill spans exactly 30 kilometers of highway, beginning and ending with mathematical precision that suggests the anomaly has defined boundaries rather than gradual transitions. Objects of all masses, from small stones to 40-ton military trucks, experience the same upward acceleration, indicating that the effect operates independently of an object's gravitational mass. Local folklore describes the hill as a pathway to heaven, where the spirits of the dead are drawn skyward. But geological surveys have found no unusual mineral deposits, magnetic anomalies, or subsurface structures that could explain the gravitational reversal. The bedrock is ordinary Himalayan granite, with no magnetic properties that would affect metallic objects. What makes the Ladakh anomaly particularly unsettling is its consistency. The upward gravitational pull operates 24 hours a day, regardless of weather conditions, tidal forces, or planetary alignments. It's as if this particular patch of Earth exists in a localized region where the fundamental constant of gravitational acceleration has been reversed. The Indian military has classified detailed studies of the area, but leaked documents suggest the gravitational anomaly extends deep underground and may be connected to similar phenomena reported at other high-altitude locations throughout the Himalayas. The hill represents a place where one of physics' most fundamental forces simply runs backward, defying everything we understand about mass, energy, and space-time. The time dilution zone. In the forests of northern Minnesota, researchers have discovered a location where time itself moves at measurably different rates. The area, known only by its classified designation Temporal Anomaly Zone 7, spans roughly 200 square meters and has been under continuous scientific observation since its discovery in 2003. The anomaly was first detected when GPS satellites showed systematic timing errors for devices operating in that specific location. Atomic clocks synchronized to global positioning systems would gradually drift out of phase when brought into the zone, losing approximately 3.7 seconds per hour compared to identical clocks positioned just outside the affected area. Dr. Sarah Chen from the National Institute of Standards and Technology led the initial investigation and found time dilation effects that shouldn't exist at Earth's surface. According to general relativity, significant time dilation requires extreme gravitational fields or velocities approaching the speed of light. But the Minnesota forest shows no unusual gravitational anomalies or electromagnetic fields that could account for the temporal distortion. The effect is measurable with atomic precision. Cesium-133 atomic clocks, the most accurate timekeeping devices ever created, consistently run slow within the zone. The time dilation follows Einstein's equations perfectly, but with no identifiable cause for the space-time curvature that would be required to produce such effects. Plant growth within the anomalous zone occurs at accelerated rates that correspond precisely to the time dilation measurements. Trees show growth rings that don't match seasonal patterns, and carbon-14 dating of organic material from the area yields results that are systematically older than samples from surrounding regions. Most disturbing are the effects on biological systems. Researchers working within the zone for extended periods show subtle but measurable differences in cellular metabolism, DNA replication rates, and circadian rhythms. Their biological processes appear to be operating in sync with the local time flow rather than universal time. The boundaries of the temporal anomaly are sharp and clearly defined. Stepping from normal space into the zone creates an instantly detectable change in timekeeping devices. The transition occurs within a distance of less than 1 meter, suggesting that space-time curvature changes abruptly rather than gradually. Government agencies have restricted access to the area and classified all research beyond basic acknowledgement of the anomaly's existence. The site represents a location where the flow of time itself has been altered by unknown forces, creating a pocket of alternative temporality hidden within Earth's normal space-time. The electromagnetic dead zone. Deep in the Australian outback, approximately 800 kilometers northeast of Perth, lies an area that electronics cannot penetrate. Known to researchers as the Nullarbor Void, this 50-square-kilometer region completely absorbs electromagnetic radiation across all frequencies, creating a zone of absolute electronic silence that defies the laws of electromagnetism. The anomaly was discovered in 1987 when Australian telecommunications satellites detected a perfect electromagnetic shadow on the ground that absorbed all radio transmissions. The area appears completely black to radar, satellite imaging, and all forms of electronic surveillance, as if electromagnetic waves simply cease to exist within its boundaries. Dr. Michael Thornton from the Australian National University conducted extensive field studies and found that the zone violates Maxwell's equations in fundamental ways. Electromagnetic waves of all frequencies, from radio to gamma rays, are completely absorbed upon contact with the area's perimeter, with no reflection, scattering, or transmission detectable by any instruments. The absorption is total and instantaneous. Radio transmissions approaching the zone don't fade gradually. They stop abruptly at a precisely defined boundary that follows the terrain contours exactly. The electromagnetic cutoff occurs within centimeters, creating a sharp transition from normal electromagnetic propagation to complete absorption. All electronic devices cease functioning immediately upon entering the zone. Cell phones, GPS units, satellite communicators, and even battery-powered devices with no wireless capabilities stop working entirely. The effect isn't electromagnetic interference. It's the complete absence of electromagnetic fields of any kind within the affected area. What makes the Nullarbor Void particularly mysterious is that visible light, which is electromagnetic radiation, penetrates the zone normally. People can see into and out of the area without any visual distortion, yet radio waves, microwaves, and other electromagnetic frequencies are completely blocked. This selective absorption violates the fundamental unity of electromagnetic radiation described by Maxwell's theory. Geological surveys have found no unusual materials or structures that could account for the electromagnetic absorption. The bedrock is ordinary limestone with no conductive or magnetic properties that would affect electromagnetic propagation. The zone appears to be absorbing electromagnetic energy through mechanisms that don't exist in conventional physics. The Australian government has designated the area as a restricted military zone and removed it from public maps. The Nullarbor Void represents a place where one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature has been selectively nullified, creating a pocket of electromagnetic emptiness that shouldn't be able to exist. The Reverse Magnetism Laboratory. In the basement of a research facility outside Geneva, Switzerland, scientists have created a room where magnetic fields point in impossible directions. The space, officially designated as Experimental Chamber 7, contains a 4x4 meter area where magnetic north consistently points toward the center of the room rather than toward Earth's magnetic pole. The anomaly was accidentally created in 2008 during experiments with superconducting magnetic levitation systems. Researchers were testing configurations of magnetic field generators when they noticed that compass needles in the center of the room began pointing inward rather than toward magnetic north. Initial attempts to correct the field configuration only intensified the effect. Dr. Elena Vasquez from CERN led investigations into the phenomenon and found magnetic field patterns that violate the fundamental principles of magnetism. Magnetic field lines, which should always form continuous loops from north to south poles, instead converge toward a central point in the room where they appear to terminate without any corresponding magnetic source. The inward-pointing magnetic field creates a localized region where the Earth's magnetic field has been completely reversed and redirected. Magnetic compasses within the zone spin wildly before settling on directions that point toward the room's center, regardless of their position within the affected space. Most disturbing is that the anomalous magnetic field exists without any magnetic source. The room contains no permanent magnets, electromagnetic coils, or ferromagnetic materials that could generate the observed field patterns. The magnetic field appears to be self-sustaining, maintaining its impossible configuration without external power. The field strength varies unpredictably, sometimes reaching intensities that should require massive electromagnets to generate. During peak intensity periods, metallic objects are drawn toward the center of the room, with forces strong enough to pull tools from researchers' hands and pin metal equipment against the central focal point. Attempts to map the field using conventional magnetometers have failed because the instruments themselves become part of the anomaly when brought into the room. Electronic magnetic sensors show readings that change depending on their orientation, suggesting that the field is somehow responsive to observation and measurement attempts. The facility has been classified by Swiss authorities and removed from public research databases. The reverse magnetism laboratory represents a place where magnetic fields have been inverted through unknown mechanisms, creating a room where one of nature's fundamental forces operates in direct violation of electromagnetic theory. The density inversion chamber. In a converted mine shaft 200 meters below the surface near Sudbury, Ontario, researchers have documented a chamber where the density of materials changes based on their position within the space. Objects become lighter near the floor and heavier near the ceiling, creating a gravitational gradient that violates conservation of mass energy. The anomaly was discovered in 2012 when mining equipment began showing impossible weight variations during excavation operations. A 500-kilogram drilling machine would weigh 300 kilograms when positioned near the floor of the chamber, but increased to over 700 kilograms when lifted toward the ceiling, despite no change in the object's physical structure. Dr. Amanda Price from the University of Toronto conducted extensive measurements and found density variations that cannot be explained by known physics. The same objects show different masses depending on their vertical position within the chamber, with weight changes that occur smoothly and predictably as objects are moved up or down. The effect operates independently of gravitational fields. Precision scales show that objects actually gain or lose mass rather than experiencing changes in gravitational acceleration. Lead blocks weigh significantly more near the ceiling, while the same blocks show reduced mass when positioned near the floor, indicating actual density changes rather than gravitational effects. Water demonstrates the most dramatic effects. Liquid water near the floor of the chamber has measured densities 15% below normal, while water samples taken from near the ceiling show densities that exceed solid ice. The same water changes its physical properties based solely on its position within the affected space. The boundaries of the density inversion zone are sharply defined. Objects moved gradually from normal space into the chamber show sudden density changes that occur within centimeters. The transition happens so abruptly that objects can become unbalanced and tip over as their weight distribution changes unexpectedly. Carbon dating of organic materials from different levels within the chamber yields impossible results. The same piece of wood shows different carbon-14 concentrations depending on its position, suggesting that the density changes affect atomic structure and nuclear decay rates in ways that violate fundamental physics. The site has been sealed by Canadian authorities and declared a national security area. The density inversion chamber represents a location where matter itself behaves according to rules that don't exist in standard physics, challenging our understanding of mass, density, and the conservation laws that govern reality. The causality violation site. In the Nevada desert, 150 kilometers northwest of Las Vegas, the United States military maintains a classified facility where cause and effect operate in the wrong order. Effects precede their causes by measurable time intervals, creating a zone where the logical structure of reality has been fundamentally disrupted. The anomaly was first detected in 1994 during routine weapons testing, when instrumentation began recording explosions before the corresponding detonation triggers were activated. High-speed cameras captured blast effects occurring 2.3 seconds before explosive charges were ignited, suggesting that information about future events was somehow propagating backward through time. Dr. Jonathan Hayes from Los Alamos National Laboratory led secret investigations into the phenomenon and found temporal ordering violations that shatter our understanding of causality. Cause and effect relationships within the affected zone consistently operate in reverse, with effects manifesting before their triggering events occur. The causality violations are measurable and reproducible. Dropping objects within the zone creates impact sounds before the objects begin falling. Light switches illuminate bulbs before electrical contact is made. Computer calculations display results before input commands are entered, creating a localized region where the arrow of time points backward. The effect has precise spatial boundaries. The causality violation zone covers exactly 47.3 square meters and extends vertically to a height of 12 meters above ground level. Outside these boundaries, cause and effect operate normally, but within the zone, temporal order is consistently reversed for all measurable events. Most disturbing are the implications for free will and determinism. Actions taken within the zone appear to be predetermined by their effects, which occur before conscious decisions are made. Researchers report feeling compelled to perform specific actions that have already produced observable consequences, suggesting that causality violation eliminates genuine choice. The military has weaponized aspects of the causality violation, developing systems that can detect enemy actions before they occur and respond to threats that haven't yet manifested. The technology provides a tactical advantage by allowing defensive measures to be taken against attacks that are still in the planning stages. Detailed studies of the anomaly remain classified at the highest levels of government secrecy. The causality violation site represents a place where the fundamental structure of logical reality has been broken, creating a zone where future events determine past actions in ways that eliminate the possibility of alternative outcomes. The light speed barrier breakdown. In an underground laboratory beneath the Swiss Alps, particle accelerator experiments have created a chamber where light travels at different speeds, depending on its direction and color. The facility, known only as Project Spectrum, has documented photons moving faster than the speed of light in some directions, while traveling slower than normal in others. The anomaly was discovered during routine calibration of laser interferometry equipment, when researchers noticed that red light and blue light took different amounts of time to traverse identical distances. Further investigation revealed that the speed of light, supposedly a universal constant, was varying based on wavelength and direction within a specific experimental chamber. Dr. Hans Muller from the European Organization for Nuclear Research found light speed variations that violate special relativity in fundamental ways. Red light consistently travels 12% faster than the theoretical speed limit, while blue light moves 8% slower than normal. The variations are consistent and measurable with atomic precision timing equipment. The directional component is even more disturbing. Light traveling north to south moves faster than light traveling east to west, with speed differences that change throughout the day in patterns that correlate with Earth's rotation. This suggests that the chamber contains a preferred reference frame that shouldn't exist according to relativistic physics. Most impossibly, some wavelengths of light within the chamber exceed the speed of light barrier that Einstein established as an absolute limit. Information transmitted by these faster-than-light photons arrives at detectors before it was sent, creating temporal paradoxes and causality violations within controlled laboratory conditions. The speed variations affect more than just light. All electromagnetic radiation shows similar wavelength-dependent velocity changes, suggesting that the fundamental structure of space-time within the chamber has been altered to create different propagation speeds for different forms of electromagnetic energy. Attempts to photograph or record the light speed anomalies have failed because the recording equipment itself becomes subject to the same relativistic violations. Cameras and sensors show impossible readings that change depending on the wavelength of light being measured and the direction of measurement. The project has been classified by international agreement between CERN member nations. The light speed barrier breakdown represents a location where Einstein's cosmic speed limit has been experimentally violated, creating a room where the fundamental constants of physics no longer apply to electromagnetic radiation. The quantum decoherence void, an especially constructed isolation chamber at an undisclosed location in northern Canada. Quantum mechanical systems maintain coherence indefinitely instead of decohering within microseconds, as quantum theory predicts. The facility represents the first place on Earth where quantum superposition can be sustained macroscopically without any technological intervention. The anomaly was created accidentally in 2015 during attempts to build the world's most sensitive gravitational wave detector. Researchers isolated a chamber from all known sources of environmental disturbance, but discovered that quantum systems within the space began exhibiting behavior that violated the fundamental principles of quantum mechanics. Dr. Jennifer Walsh from the Institute for Quantum Computing found that quantum superposition states within the chamber persist for hours or days instead of the nanoseconds typical of quantum systems. Particles maintain simultaneous states of existence that should collapse immediately upon interaction with the environment. The effect scales to macroscopic objects. Researchers have successfully maintained quantum superposition in systems ranging from individual atoms to crystalline structures containing billions of particles. Objects within the chamber exist in multiple states simultaneously until directly observed, at which point they collapse into definite configurations. Most disturbing is that the chamber appears to isolate quantum systems from the universal wave function that connects all particles in the universe. Quantum entanglement with particles outside the chamber breaks immediately when entangled partners are brought into the space, suggesting that the area exists in quantum isolation from the rest of reality. The boundaries of the quantum decoherence void are absolutely sharp. Quantum systems maintain coherence perfectly within the chamber, but decohere instantly when any part of them extends beyond the precise geometric boundaries of the space. The transition occurs at the subatomic level, with no intermediate zone. Living organisms within the chamber show impossible quantum effects. Biological molecules maintain quantum coherence that allows for superposition states in neural microtubules, suggesting that consciousness itself might operate through quantum mechanical processes that are normally suppressed by environmental decoherence. The facility has been classified and removed from all public research databases. The quantum decoherence void represents a place where quantum mechanics operates in its pure theoretical form, without the environmental interactions that normally force quantum systems to behave classically. The thermodynamics reversal zone. In a sealed laboratory complex beneath the Atacama Desert in Chile, researchers have documented a space where entropy decreases spontaneously, heat flows from cold to hot objects, and the second law of thermodynamics operates in reverse. The zone represents a place where one of physics' most fundamental principles has been locally inverted. The anomaly was discovered during experiments with closed system energy measurements, when researchers noticed that isolated systems within a particular laboratory room were becoming more organized over time instead of more disordered. Energy was flowing from low temperature to high temperature objects, without any external work being performed. Dr. Carlos Rodriguez from the Universidad de Chile found thermodynamic processes that violated the second law of thermodynamics in measurable ways. Hot objects became hotter, while cold objects became colder, creating temperature gradients that increased rather than equilibrated. Entropy measurements showed consistent decreases in isolated systems. The effect operates on all scales simultaneously. Individual molecules show reversed Brownian motion, organizing themselves into more ordered structures rather than random distributions. Macroscopic systems spontaneously separate into organized patterns that represent lower entropy states than their initial configurations. Most impossibly, the zone generates usable work from thermal equilibrium without any external energy source. Heat engines within the space operate with efficiencies greater than 100%, extracting more energy than they consume by drawing additional power from the spontaneous entropy decrease of their surroundings. The thermodynamic reversal affects biological systems in profound ways. Living organisms within the zone show enhanced cellular organization, improved metabolic efficiency, and reduced aging markers. The spontaneous entropy decrease appears to optimize biological processes in ways that extend cellular lifespan indefinitely. Temperature measurements within the zone show impossible gradients where objects spontaneously become hotter or colder, based on their thermodynamic properties rather than thermal contact. The local environment maintains thermal gradients without any energy input, violating conservation of energy principles. The facility has been sealed and classified by the Chilean government in cooperation with international physics organizations. The thermodynamics reversal zone represents a place where one of the most tested laws in physics operates backward, creating a pocket of reversed temporal flow that challenges our understanding of the arrow of time itself. The reality instability field. At coordinates that have been removed from all public mapping systems, a joint international research team monitors a location where the fundamental constants of physics change randomly and unpredictably. The area, designated only as anomalous zone alpha, represents a place where reality itself has become unstable. The site was discovered in 2007 when satellite monitoring detected space-time distortions that affected GPS accuracy across a 10-kilometer radius. Investigation revealed a zone where the basic parameters that govern physical reality, including the speed of light, gravitational constant, and fundamental particle masses, fluctuate in ways that threaten the stability of local physics. Dr. Elena Kowalski, from an international consortium of physics laboratories, documented changes in fundamental constants that should be impossible according to all theories of physics. The speed of light varies by up to 15% from its standard value. Gravitational acceleration changes unpredictably between 8 and 12 meters per second squared. Even more disturbing, the fine structure constant, which determines electromagnetic interactions, shows variations that would normally prevent atoms from forming stable structures. The fluctuations occur without warning and affect all physical processes simultaneously. During periods when particle masses increase, chemical reactions slow down, and biological processes become sluggish. When gravitational constants change, objects begin falling at different rates, and orbital mechanics for artificial satellites become unpredictable. Electronic equipment fails consistently within the zone because microprocessors cannot function when fundamental constants change. Digital circuits require stable physical laws to operate properly. But the reality instability field creates conditions where the basic rules of electronics change faster than computational processes can adapt. Most terrifying are the effects on human consciousness and perception. Researchers report experiencing reality differently during constant fluctuations. Colors appear to shift between visible and invisible spectra. Sounds change pitch and volume independently of their sources. And spatial relationships become distorted as dimensional constants vary. The boundaries of the reality instability field expand and contract unpredictably, sometimes encompassing areas as large as 50 square kilometers before shrinking to just a few hectares. The fluctuations follow no detectable pattern and appear to be genuinely random variations in the fundamental structure of local spacetime. International agencies have established a permanent monitoring station at a safe distance from the zone while maintaining absolute secrecy about its location. The reality instability field represents humanity's first encounter with a place where the foundation of physical reality has become unreliable, threatening the basic assumption that natural laws operate consistently throughout the universe. Conclusion: these 10 locations represent more than scientific anomalies. They're evidence that our planet contains places where the fundamental laws of physics simply don't apply. From gravity hills where objects fall upward to chambers where time flows at different rates, these aren't theoretical possibilities or measurement errors. They're documented locations where reality operates according to rules that challenge everything we understand about how the universe works. What makes these sites particularly disturbing isn't just their violation of established physics, but the way they've been handled by governments and scientific institutions. Many have been classified, removed from maps, and hidden from public knowledge because they threaten paradigms that have guided human understanding for centuries. The existence of these anomalous zones suggests that Earth itself may be far stranger than we've imagined. If physics can break down in specific locations, it implies that the laws we consider universal and absolute may actually be local phenomena that can be altered, interrupted, or reversed under the right conditions. Perhaps most unsettling is what these locations collectively reveal about the nature of reality itself. They suggest that the universe we experience, with its consistent physical laws and predictable behaviors, may be just one possible configuration among many. In these secret places where physics stops working, we catch glimpses of alternative realities where different rules apply and impossible things become everyday occurrences. The question isn't whether these anomalous zones exist. The documentation proves they do. The question is what they mean for our understanding of reality, and whether the consistent physics we experience everywhere else is as fundamental and unbreakable as we've always assumed. These 10 locations prove that in some places on Earth, the impossible becomes routine, and the laws of physics are more like suggestions that the universe occasionally chooses to ignore.